Namaskar friends. Friends, it's election season and my today's video is about elections and voting, rather non-voting. It's about people who do not vote, who do not cast their vote. Friends, you would know that the number of such people is quite large who do not vote for different reasons. Let's just take the example of the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, which is supposed to have had the best voting percentage ever. So there was a total electorate, that is eligible voters, of around 95 crores and the voting percentage was 64%. That means 36% voters did not cast their vote. That 36 amounts to around 31 crore. 36% comes to around 34 crores people who did not cast their vote. And of the 64% who did, there were more than 1%, that is around 65 lakh people, who cast their vote for nota, none of the above. So I would like to bracket them also as non-voters. They have voted, no doubt. They are much more responsible than non-voters, to the extent that they go to the booth, take the trouble of standing in the queue and cast the vote, giving the message that they find none of the candidates good enough for their choosing. But still the impact, the net impact of their vote, nota vote, is the same as that of non-voters. So for the purposes of this video, I would like to bracket them with the non-voters. So to that extent, I say that the non-voters were 35 crore people approximately out of a total of 95 crore eligible voters. So only around 60 crore people voted. Now imagine if these 35 crores or 80% of these or 50% of these would have voted, what the results would have been. Of course, not all of them choose not to vote because of their own choice. Because a very large percentage, maybe 40%, 50% or even more than 50%, is of such people who are, for reasons of work or study, in cities and places other than where they are registered as voters. So they are unable to cast their vote. It's a pity that it's been more than 70 years since our independence and we have not been able to address this issue, address this problem of enabling them to cast their vote. And these are people who are migrant workers, these are people who are in government jobs, in corporates, in public sector jobs, posted, who are in transferable jobs, posted outside the place where they are registered as voters. Anyway, apparently the Election Commission has some proposals, especially now with this digital process of voting, for enabling such people to cast that vote, but nothing is formalized yet. In fact, it has to go through the process of approval by the government and political parties, etc., etc. So for the moment, these people, if they want to cast their vote, they have to come back to their place where they are registered and cast their vote. So they are not part of our discussion in this video. I am talking about those people who again form a very large percentage of this 35 crore chunk of electorate, who of their own volition do not cast their vote despite being in the same place where they are registered. Now why do such people not cast their vote? And let's try to take a peep at their thinking and psyche so far as this voting process is concerned. It's my view, it's my opinion that such people do not cast their, whether these people are those who cast the vote for nota, or those who just take the voting day as a holiday, or those who just feel that it's not worth their while to go and cast their vote. I think the underlying view or the underlying perspective of these people is that the candidates and the parties are all the same, that the candidates and the parties are really not deserving of their vote, that they are driven by considerations other than what those should be, welfare of the people and working for the people, etc., and the development of the nation, and so on. Now, the problem is that in a democracy, you have just this particular basket where you have this bunch of candidates and you have to choose one amongst them. Till we come or evolve a better system, this is it. So not exercising that right and duty to select one of those for your vote is, I think, not a smart idea. And I'll just again give an example going back to the 2019 elections. In the 2019 elections, there were 542 Lok Sabha constituencies for which elections were fought, out of which in 115 constituencies, the winners had criminal cases pending against them. And the runner-up, the first runner-up, who had the next highest number of votes in those 115 constituencies, was someone who did not have a criminal case pending against him. There were other constituencies where people with criminal cases pending won. But there the first runner-up again also had some criminal case. So we are talking of only those 115 cases where the number 2 person was a clean person. Now in those 115 constituencies, 85% cases were such where the person with the criminal case pending against him won with less than 20% margin. Now if in those constituencies the people who are not voting had cast their vote, and these, mind you, these are 35%, 37%, 35 crore people, 37%. So they would have made a huge difference. Now you might say that all of them may not have voted for the clean guy. But I believe, if not all, a very, very large percentage of these people would have voted for the clean guy. Why do I say that? Because these people feel that all the candidates are the same. These people feel that they are not working for the interests of the nation or the people, and therefore they do not cast their vote. If they had just been a wee bit less cynical and done some analysis, nothing deep, just slight evaluation of the candidates in their constituencies, they would have seen that at least in these 115 constituencies, there was one candidate who was having a criminal case, another who was not. They would not have voted for the person with a criminal case pending against him. And they would have made that difference, because 34% and here it was less than 20%. They would have been able to ensure that a clean candidate would have won. Now remember, criminalization of politics is a big issue in the country, and everybody is going into knots to ensure or to come up with a process of how to ensure that there is decriminalization of politics. And here we have this 34% or 35 crore people who, if they had voted, could have at one go ensured that at least in these 115 cases, or at least 85% of those 115 cases, or 80% or 50% of those 115 cases, a person with a criminal background had not won. To that extent, they would have decriminalized the process if they had done just that wee bit of things. And this is just one point. So, and mind you, these people, like I said, these people are not driven by considerations of caste, religion, or even personal favors or some such other lollipops. Because had they been, they would have then voted for that candidate or party. So in all probability, they would, if they vote, they would vote on merits for the candidate who, in their opinion, is best within that basket of candidates. So to that extent, non-voting by this lot or voting for nota by this 35 crore odd voters makes the least eligible candidate more worthy of winning, or affects the best candidate most adversely, and the least worthy candidate it favors the most. So they are not, so I'm just trying to correct the perception of these non-voters who think they are neutral observers. They are not being neutral. By staying away from casting their vote, they are in fact helping the less meritorious. So their thinking of all being bad, or their standards of their high standards of expectations, are producing just the diametrically opposite result of what they want. That is one point. The other point that I wanted to say is there are many people who do not vote sometimes because they feel that, as per the opinion polls, etc., they feel that a certain party is winning and this other party is not winning. So some of them would be voting for the winning party, would have voted for the winning party, so they feel that my party is winning, so they relax. They tend to take it easy and do not vote. And the other party, sometimes they feel that my party is losing, they tend to become despondent and do not cast their vote. To such people, I would say, don't go by opinion polls. Try to reflect on the 2004 Lok Sabha elections, where the opinion polls were saying that so and so party would win, but finally when the results came, the results were just the opposite, contrary to what the opinion polls had been saying. So don't go by opinion polls. Even if you're, as per the polls, your party is winning with a great margin, vote, do your duty to the party and the candidate or whatever you feel best, but do cast your vote. Similarly, those who feel their party is losing badly, add your vote to that party so that the results are not as bad as they think. If you cast your vote, the end result would be nearer to the ground reality. Otherwise, with 34 crore people not voting, or 35 crore or 36 crore people not voting, there will definitely be some winner and some loser. There will definitely be some, even if the 50% people do not vote, there will be some winner and some loser. But that winner would not be representative of the people's will. So to that extent, the non-voter is striking at the roots of the will of the people and weakening the democracy. So my request to such people is, please cast your vote as per your considerations, what you think is, or who you consider is the best candidate and the best party as per your preferences, as per your criteria. So do cast your vote, and preferably not to nota, preferably to some candidate or the other. That's all I wanted to say. If you feel that this message makes sense, this video makes sense, please like it, share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.